All right, 7:30 on the dot. So last week, one of the Adam Shelves, I think I just called him Adam Shelve. Probably shouldn't call him that. He was on the podcast and he came on straight away at exactly 7:30. And that was great because I didn't need to sit here and talk to myself for too long, because the alternative is editing the video, which I don't want anything to do with on my MacBook Air, which is not powerful enough to edit videos. So Hendo, if he's online soon, that helps me a lot. And he is. Look at this. How good. What a legend. Love this guy. The band is back together. Hendo.
Oh, hello there.
Wait, why's your... Oh, no, your sound's not coming into my ears. I want you in my ears, mate.
Why am I not in your ears?
Well...
Can I record as well, just for...
Yeah, you
backup?
definitely should do
you need
that.
to give me permission.
God damn it, not again, not this thing. Participants. What do I do again?
Allow local
Allow to
recording.
record. There we go. That's easy. That's easy. I can do that. Maybe this is my sound settings. Let me just go audio output. Yeah, I don't
Still
want that.
can't hear me.
There we. Oh, look at that. You're right.
Still can't hear me. You can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, I could hear you through my MacBook Air, but not through
can
my
you
ears.
can you like do me a favor then? Can
What?
you just sit back a little bit from your computer, right? Because it's really, really important. Just pick yourself up and just go back. We need to have 1.5 meters between each other because I've got fucking COVID.
Oh my God, you've got COVID?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's fucked. Talk about one of your fucking worst nightmares come true.
Ah, bugger. When did you find that out?
Yesterday.
Oh, damn. You look fine.
Yeah, I feel all right. I've sort of lost my sense of smell a little bit. There's a weird smell in my nose. It's kind of if I was to describe it, it'd be kind of like a mixture between ozone. You know what ozone smells like?
No.
After it rains, that smell.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
That
that's
smell?
a pleasant smell.
Not when it's mixed with butcher shop.
Okay. All right.
It's like that.
Interesting.
So,
but your energy levels fine?
Oh, no, I slept half the day today.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was in bed last night at 7 p.m. and woke up at 7 a.m. And then I still slept for 2 hours after lunch today too.
Oh shit. Okay.
So
interesting.
But I've had a bit of a cough and runny nose and shit. And yeah.
Well,
I just
feel
really
like
hope I don't.
I feel like a massive soft cock after not coming on the podcast 2 weeks ago. I didn't have COVID. I just had Dan flu.
Dan flu. I'm all right. What am I going to do? I can't fucking leave my house. So here I am on doing the fucking podcast. So
that's true. What are the rules now? How does that work? You just
we have to be 1.5 meters apart.
Well, no,
so
I've got that.
Sure
I'm 750 from my computer.
Okay, I'm 750 from my monitor as well.
Yeah. But for you to go back to your normal life, you just have to be feeling better, be symptom free, or
7 days after you get a test.
Oh, you have to be 7 days?
It's 7 days. I'm stuck at home until Tuesday. I fucking ran out of ice cream just now.
Oh shit.
I'm on day 2.
Do you want me to bring you some?
No, I can just order Coles delivery or something silly like that. But
okay.
It's scary, you know.
Well, let me know if you need anything. I could probably organise to get you some beer or something. But
if it's in a COVID safe manner. I'm not drinking. I haven't had a drink since I got diagnosed. I think it's probably best to prioritize one's health first.
Yeah.
But do you have a beer?
I do have a beer, yeah.
What have you got?
I cracked it just before we started recording. I'm not really sure why. I was worried about the conversation going too long before I had the opportunity to crack and it going warm. So I've got the White Lies Raspberry Sour.
Oh, that's an award-winning beer. That's won gold medals.
Don't worry, I know that because it was written all over the back of the can.
Oh,
do you want to get a photo?
That's just like Lee to tell you. Oh, yes, of course.
A landscape. I'll go
landscape
back
or portrait?
1.5 meters as well. Sideways.
Portrait or landscape? Oh, I've got a photo of me laughing.
Brilliant. That'll do. Just use that.
Check to make sure I got a photo. There we go. What is that?
You actually have one? Fucking hell.
It's like I took a photo of myself laughing, taking a selfie because the thing switched on the screen when I started talking.
All right. Well, if you got a photo of something, then that's good. So yeah, this beer has this weird flex on the back here. Gold medal ABA 2018 and 2019. It doesn't even have a description. It just says gold medal ABA 2018, 2019. Gold medal Royal Queensland Beer Awards 2021. Champion Mixed Culture Beer Royal Queensland Beer Awards 2020.
Yeah.
Not bad.
He's done very good with it.
Elon, stop barking.
Oh, Lee.
And
Lee, traditionally, who
delicious.
doesn't like lager. And I was talking to him today, and he's in New Zealand. And he said to me, I think I like New Zealand Pilsner. I'm like, yes.
Nice.
New Zealand Pilsner is so good.
This is an absolutely delicious beer.
Good on you.
Cool label.
Yeah.
And look at the color of the beer too. It's like a real peachy sort of pinky color.
Yeah.
What's he doing
Nice.
in New Zealand?
On holidays, he goes skiing a lot.
Of course he does.
Yeah. I don't know how he fucking does it.
I don't know either.
How can he afford to travel with that truck that he's got?
Oh, I know. It'd be cheaper to fly in a jet than drive that car around.
It's just, it's just crazy. Anyway, what have you been up to? That was last week's show. I never had a chance to listen to it yet.
Oh, it was good. Adam was great. It was good. He was on time. It was thoughtful.
He's a good egg.
Yeah, he was good. He said he's keen to come back, so he's a good one to have there if we want to get back. There's a fair bit of news too, so there's a bit to talk about.
Yeah, awesome.
You want to get into it? Oh, how was your judging thing?
Adelaide, yeah, great. Thanks for giving me the week off.
Do we still call it Radelaide, or is that not really a thing?
You can call it whatever you want, but you can't get a fucking schooner there. That's for sure.
No.
Tried. Me and Matty Cuthbert, we tried all week to get schooners, and all they would give us was pints. That were the
Proper
size of a
pints,
schooner.
580, 570?
No, pints. No. In South Australia, a pint is what we call a schooner.
Oh, well, that's a schooner.
Right. So that's a pint.
It's 425.
But if you want, and then if you want a 500 mil, 580 mil, whatever the fuck it is, that's called an imperial pint. However, we were at a pub one night, and do you know what I loved about Adelaide? There are just some really awesome shitty pubs, shitty old pubs, right? That are just they're just gorgeous and derelict, and like time stood still in the 1950s, and they haven't changed the inside of them since. Amazing, so cool. You walk into one. I don't know. For me, it was just an amazing feeling of wow. This is just very uniquely Australian. Just these old shitty pubs.
Do they actually make them good by having good food and beverage offerings? Or?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Beers were awesome. Food, amazing, right? But they just left the pub in its state from the furniture and everything. Just, fuck, I loved it. It was just so good. Nice. And you could get in quite a few pubs that we went to. No, just one. You could get a long neck of Coopers over the bar.
Nice.
Just fucking smash a fucking long neck. It was so good.
That's cool. I'm going to fucking let this dog out because he's sitting there barking at the door because he's too much of a soft cock to actually go through the doggy door. Okay. And he thinks there's something in the yard, but there's not. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Who let the dogs out? Dan, 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 Dan. Who let the dogs out? Dan, 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 Dan. Now, he's not going to hear this, and he's back.
I love this dog, but he's just so dumb. There's no nice way to put it. He's so dumb.
Not up there for intelligence.
No, he's a good boy. He's just a dead shit. Oh God, he's still barking. What are you barking at, mate? There's literally nothing there. Fuck me.
It was really good. Went to a few breweries. Let me mention a couple of really good breweries I went to. Went and hung out with the Big Shed guys, as you know.
They're good lads.
They are very good lads.
They just appointed a new CEO. I saw on their Facebook.
They did, yes.
It's an interesting move.
Yeah, it's an interesting move. They, Jason Craig being founders and major shareholders in the business, I think it takes a good amount of balls to sort of go, you know what, we want to grow this business, but it's above our pay grade or above our skill set. Let's get the right person in and make it happen. I think it's a super move,
Yeah.
And where else did I go? Okay. Couple of breweries of note that if you're in Adelaide, I highly recommend going to check out. On the Tuesday night, we had the IBD Asia Pacific meeting, which was at Bright Star Brewing.
Oh yeah.
And the brewery's only been open 6 weeks or something. And all really traditional styles of beer. Good Helles, good Pilsner. The Schwarzbier was amazing. And I don't know so the head brewer is Dan I don't know if you know Dan and Steph. They used to do this thing called Two Brewers Abroad a few years ago.
I think so.
And so Dan, who was doing a bit of consulting, wound up being the head brewer there. He's doing an amazing job and loved the beers. And I tried these beers. I went, these beers are really good. And he goes, that's our first batch. And I'm like, fuck, that's amazing.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah. So really, really good. And where else did I go? Little Bang, which we'll talk about shortly. Went up there and that was pretty good. And I'm back down there in 2 weeks' time.
Oh, what for?
Beer and Barbecue Festival.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You want to come?
That's right. No, the Big Shed guys were talking about that, weren't they?
Yeah. You want to
go? Probably not.
Why not?
Because
Smith Street Band are playing. I love the Smith Street Band.
Oh, that sounds fun. Well, because I've been traveling a lot for work and I don't particularly like traveling. So
yeah, right.
I've got to go back down to Melbourne for the third time in about a month, which bugs me.
Shit.
And I don't really want to travel anymore at the moment.
Huh.
You probably like it a lot more than I do.
Oh, look, gets me out of the office. Pretty good. That's good. I like getting on the road to a point. You can do it too much. But anyway, the competition, Adelaide was really good. Pubs were really good. Breweries were really good. Competition was really good. We judged 360 beers over 2 days. It's really different, the judging there. Hey, same points thing, but
this is the Adelaide, like the Adelaide equivalent of the Queensland
Rabka. It's called the Royal Adelaide Beer and Cider Awards, Rabka, and so they basically they put all of the judging panels in a separate room. So you can't actually see the other panels as they're judging and stuff like that, right? I don't know. And then
you're judging different beers, aren't you?
Yes, of course. And then they bring the beers out one at a time. And so, which normally in a competition, the table captain will sort of say, bring out, 3 beers, 4 beers, or whatever the rest of the particular style is, or something like that.
Yeah.
But this was all the time was just 1 beer at a time.
Interesting. That slow the whole thing down a lot.
Yeah. And then it was a bit slow, but you could be a bit more thorough with the beers. I'm not. Both ways are fine. I find I'm pretty thorough with beers, anyways. It was all good. I really enjoyed it. Good time, and I'm grateful for to Stephen Nelson and the Rabka for inviting me down to judge, and looking forward to heading back down for Beer and Barbecue Festival, which is on the weekend of the 16th, 17th of 15th, 16th, 17th of July.
So when are they doing the announcements for the awards? Or do they do
That's
that?
on the Friday night. It's on the
Oh,
16th
okay.
of July.
So you get to go to
it's
that
at Beer
too,
and
or-
Barbecue. Yeah, that's why that's why I'm going back down.
Cool.
A little bit of work and go to the announcement of all the awards and stuff like that. So
Oh, nice. That sounds good.
yeah.
Great. Well, should we get into the Little Bang one then? Because we've got
Yeah,
a
why
little bit
not?
of news here. We'll start with that one.
Yeah.
Little Bang sells to
sells
Duxton Pubs Group.
Pubs Group. That's in stereo. Worst kept secret ever.
Okay. Well, they did mention it's been going on for 12 months or something, right?
Yeah. Everybody knew it was coming. When I was there last week, everybody knew it was coming. They all knew it was going to be announced next week.
Yeah.
And it was just not a surprise at all. Interesting play, it's I think it's I like the Crafty Pint story better than the Brews News one on this occasion. Sorry, Matt, if you are listening, because it kind of tells a pretty good. I've probably done from some fucking press release or something like that, but yeah, worst kept secret.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, it says it in the article. Well, and it was just fucking shit. Everyone knew it was happening.
That's fine.
Good beers. I had a good time there, a couple of beers and lovely bunch of people, and showed us around the brewery. And the founder stories there is pretty bit of a well-worn path. They're sort of growing the business. They wanted to grow, wanted to stay independent. How could they do that? And just thinking about selling to a pub group. It's an interesting play, a smart one, I suppose.
Yeah. They're still quite small, aren't they? Is it 400,000 litres per annum?
Yeah, they've got a pretty big space there and plenty of room to grow.
Yeah.
More tanks and move some warehousing out and all that sort of thing. But, I think it's an interesting play. I think this may be the future of the future of breweries, craft breweries getting bought out in the future, rather than being bought out by Lion or CUB. They might get bought out by a pub group, and there's some pretty good breweries owned by pub groups already, like Colonial.
That's right. Yeah.
Colonial has got a bunch of pubs. I think it's 30, 40 odd pubs or something like that.
I don't know much about Colonial. Did they? Sorry, I'm just relocating to close this door. Did the pub group start the brewery, or the brewery started the pub group?
The brewery started, and then pub group bought the brewery.
Okay, right.
Because it makes sense, if you're a pub and you've got all these different pubs in your group, and if your contract's coming up for renewal, and you do the numbers, and rather than taking a big cash lump sum as an incentive from your Lion or your CUB contract, or if you're a smart publican, you have in your contract that excludes beer that's brewed that's owned by the business, you go buy a fucking brewery. And you get the best of both worlds, on
the basis that it's cheaper to make the beer yourself. Is that the assumption?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of vertical integration.
Do you think it actually would be cheaper to own a brewery that's doing 400,000 litres a year? I mean, yes. I guess it would be cheaper because the majors charge a lot for beer.
Well, there's one reason why it becomes cheaper, mate: the excise refund. And this is why
it's cheaper if you're sort of one pub, but if you're a massive conglomerate, you're moving shitloads of beer, you're only really saving.
The excise refund, on a typical 5% full strength beer average, that's about 400,000 litres of production that's excise free. So all of a sudden, you've knocked $60, $70 a keg off your cogs. That's good. Then it's good money.
But it's also a very inefficient way to make beer, making it at that scale.
Yeah, but for $70 a keg saving,
it's worth it.
Being as inefficient as you want.
Yeah.
And so the alternative is that you take rebates and stuff and from Lion or CUB under a tap contract.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen with the Little Bangs. Obviously got some distribution. They've probably got some taps around, Adelaide, which, to be fair, they're probably going to lose a lot of them now because they're owned by competitors.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll, make it back and all that sort of stuff. And
but how much do you think, like, I know there's lots of pubs putting in breweries, like that's definitely something that's happening. Like, I guess if you're weighing up, if you're a pub and you're weighing up, should I buy a brewery or should I put one in? Why would you buy an existing one at a premium as opposed to putting your own in if you can't really use the brand outside of your own venues?
Well, if you don't have if you don't have the space.
Well, I suppose so, but you don't
want to go through the rigmarole of town planning and council and all that sort of stuff.
That's true, but then you're only really, if that's your main motivation, you're only going to pay basically the setup costs of the brewery.
Yeah,
for the acquisition, aren't you?
And you've got to think about just on the excise, right? Just on the excise alone, right? If you've got a typical pub that's selling 30 to 30 odd kegs a week, that's a pretty decent pub doing 30 kegs a week. It's only 1,500 litres a week, right? Which is only, what is that, 1,500? 70,000, 80,000 litres a year, right? And if you've got, 5 pubs, right, then all that beer across those 5 pubs all of a sudden is excise free.
Yeah, but it would be excise free even if you built your own brewery and only paid a few $100,000 to build it. I suppose what I'm saying is, if it's going to be a viable exit option for a brewery, the pubs are only going to pay really, like, the brand value is not that much of a consideration, really. If they're doing it for financial reasons, they're buying it because it's cheaper to buy it than build it, or quicker or something.
Yes.
So
absolutely,
you're probably not getting paid a lot for your brewery if you sell it to a pub group, is I guess what I'm getting at. Like, they don't say that in the article, but like
they do in the one on the Crafty Pint. They actually said that part of the deal was the founders got some shares in Duxton Group or something, I read.
Right, but you don't know if they sold it for sort of replacement costs or 50 times revenue or whatever the current multiple is for investors.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, I mean, there's a lot of acquisition or related stories this week, so that's the first one. Bridge Road Akasha crowdfunding wrap up. So, well, the first thing we've got to do is work out who won this competition.
Yeah. Who won?
Well, I don't know. I didn't do that much research, but I put a link to it. So
do we have a final number
live right now? That would be good to know, wouldn't it? They should be both done, I think. Akasha was something like 1.7.
Oh, they're both done.
I think they're both done. Where's 1.7? Is it done? Where does it say? Oh no, it still says it offer live. I thought that one was finished.
Is that Akasha or Bridge Road?
That's Akasha. It still says offer live. Do they just keep it open forever?
Depends how much money you want.
I thought that one finished. It hasn't gone up. It hasn't gone up much. I feel like we should probably just assume it's finished. So Akasha was 1.75 million. Bridge Road has got 1 day to go and it's 1.247. So we can't actually crown a winner yet.
Okay.
We'll have to do it on next week's show, but
we'll have to do it next week. So wait, so Akasha's at 1.7 and Bridge Road's at 1.2?
Yes. So both of them are going to miss out on their max. Bridge Road by a fair margin, I think. 1 day to go, they're going to be about half of what they wanted to raise.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not the best time to do a crowdfunding when there's inflation and shit.
It's also a $52 million valuation. I think we did talk about it last week on the podcast, but they've got a $52 million valuation for a 17-year-old business that is not profitable.
Yeah, right. Did you get the EOI?
I had to look at it. Yeah, it's live. You can just go on Virtual and have a look at all the numbers.
What was the give me the guy version of it?
What's the guy version of it?
Just the summary, the
Of
executive
what,
summary.
financials or just generally?
Yeah, just general financials, all that sort of shit.
Well, the valuation was $50 million.
Did you say it was not profitable?
Not profitable. Not really growing either. Like it's not really growing either. It's a 17-year-old business. So I guess it depends on how you measure growth, but not really growing. I think the valuation was pretty aggressive, to be honest. Like, and I think that's probably why they haven't raised as much as they wanted, because if their whole story is, did you see the video? And it's all like, I've seen these ads everywhere. They've been flogging this thing. The whole story was take on the big guys, support independence, which kind of tells you if you're going to put money into it, they're never going to sell to one of the majors. So if you ever want to get your money out, they've either got to be worth more than $52 million on the stock market, or they become so massively profitable that, that they start paying out dividends to thousands of investors. But both of those seem completely impossible outcomes to me. So yeah, I feel like this one is probably the first one that I've seen where it feels like they've gone too hard on the valuation, and it doesn't seem like a company that's 17 years old, that doesn't make money, that isn't growing that quick, could possibly be worth $50 million.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's the thing about breweries. They got to grow or they're not profitable.
Yeah.
Where does the growth end?
Yeah, especially I think with there's so many of these examples now from companies that were so adamant about not selling out.
Yes.
And they end up selling out, which, everyone's like, oh, you suck, you sold out. But like these companies probably made the right decision. Like if you think about Stone and Wood selling at the end of last year for an ungodly amount of money, I mean, it's probably the most perfect timing and execution of a sale of a brewery that you could ever wish for.
Yeah, was then.
It was right then for that amount of money, with all the context of the bolter sale and the competitors needing a competitor. If you don't do that, then what are the options? There's not many. Continue raising money is basically the only option. But if you can't raise the money that you need, then you got another problem. So yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how they both pan out next week. Those two crowdfundings. I'm curious. Am I winning? I'm sure I'm winning.
That's a good question. I don't think that many people actually predicted. Like almost everyone said that they'd hit their max, I think.
I did not say that.
No, you didn't.
I definitely did not say that.
So 1.75 plus 1.25. So we're sitting at 3 million. Let me see. Maximum Bocoda, Steve, maximum, Michael Morgan, 3.9, Lee, 4 million, Max, Jacob, Leon, 4.2, Rob, 4.4, 4.1, 3.6. No one is, all right, where are you? Are you on here? What did you respond?
No, we agreed it in the past show. You're just going to have to go listen to those past
I'm not
shows.
listening to that. That's way too hard. You have to put it in the thread. Hang on, wait up. 3 point. So far, Daniel Pinto said 3.25. That's, I think, the lowest that's close.
Yeah, right.
Everyone basically said they thought they'd hit their maximum, pretty much.
Go Pinto.
Yeah, so he's looking pretty good. Unless it turns out you were closer on the podcast, I'm not going to go back and listen to that. Are you?
No. Maybe someone in the Facebook group can remind us. Oh, incidentally, if this is your first time listening to the Boss and the Brewer podcast, if you go to facebook.com/groups/Boss and the Brewer and answer the entry question incorrectly, wrong answers only, you can come and join the conversation.
All right. I just replied to the thread and said, does anyone remember Hendo's prediction? Because I'm way too lazy to listen to that episode.
Yeah, that's actually the lazy person's way to do it.
Yeah. I like that.
Good on you.
All right. Atomic wins GABS. Do you care about that?
Yeah.
All right. Go on.
I'm a GABS winner. Of course I care.
All right. No, well, I know.
Atomic Whip up their way to the top. Let's see. What did they do? What did they make? Lemon Whip Sour has taken out the People's Choice. I'm glad they're fucking doing it again. They didn't really make a big deal of it last year, the People's Choice.
Well, that's more was my question. It kind of feels like
the
something
dessert
just
sour
fizzled
modeled
away.
on a lemon meringue pie was served with a blowtorch burnt head. Smart. How they did that? Do they put egg in it to make it foam up like a pisco sour?
Yes, I think so. And then fired it up with a. I didn't actually see them doing this, but
no, I didn't see that either. We were there together and we didn't see it.
No, we didn't.
Well, that's a great idea. Why not? I never tried it though. Now I wish I tried it.
Yeah.
I tried to try every beer at GABS, but fell over.
Yeah, it's tough. I didn't have too many GABS beers, to be honest. I don't actually know if I had any, but yeah.
Actually, same.
Good on Gage.
Except for ones that like I tried at the breweries bars and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good. Gage are kicking goals. Good on them.
To the top if you want a atomic whip.
Okay. I don't know if we should be singing anymore. We could do that as if I wanted to put effort into the show, I could take that, put it at the start as like the cold open thing, just to keep people engaged about what's going to happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I won't do that.
Oh.
All right. Stone sells to Sapporo for $1.65 million.
Here we 1.65.
Sorry, 165.
165 million.
165 million.
All right. Here, I'm going to stick a link. I don't know if you've... okay, so probably a bit of backstory. Greg Koch, did you ever meet him?
I did not. No, I went to Stone, both of their sites, though, in America, and it was awesome.
I just stuck a link in the document there, which is Greg Koch's blog post. Okay, so Greg Koch, he'd run Stone for 30 years, easily 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And very outspoken, right? When you know, the sort of the craft beer thing in Australia started to ramp up in the late noughties, early 2010s.
Yeah.
You know, Stone was one of those hype beers that was imported into the country and everyone wanted to try Arrogant Bastard, you know, and all that sort of thing. And Greg was very much an outspoken guy, a bit like James Watt, really. He's like the American James Watt. Very much.
Well, they both owned the same brewery in Berlin, didn't they, at one point?
No. The Stone sold it to Brewdog. So.
Exactly.
Well, they have owned the same brewery. Oh, yeah, I get what you mean. Sorry, I think you meant at the same time.
No.
And so, you know, it used to be his modus operandi was all about yellow fizzy beers for wussies and you know, all that sort of stuff about being anti big beer and all that.
It was very much the Stone and Wood, even with the same basic name in America, right?
What do you mean?
Well, exactly the same thing. It was fiercely independent, and
the
founders
absolutely,
are very outspoken.
Yeah, for sure. Just doing, you know, being the fiercely independent. And I recall, and you know, going back to our conversation about you know, profitability in breweries and stuff like that. I recall hearing him once sort of saying, you know, we're on an aggressive growth path at the moment, but if we plateau and that's how we remain, that's okay. And I think that's what might have happened to them in the last few years, and that's not a really good place to be. You know, the Berlin brewery was a massive miscalculation of the European craft beer market. You know, building a massive brewery in the middle of Berlin in Germany, where beer is a fucking commodity, and if it costs more than €1 for a bottle, it's way too expensive. Thinking that Europeans would drink craft beer like Americans, he was 10 years ahead of his time in that respect. It is changing there now, but man, it's been a slow journey. Look, he's very outspoken. He rubs a lot of people up the wrong way, but you have to respect, but I have a lot of respect for him. Never had his hand out once for crowdfunding or anything silly like that. Was was true to his ideals. People can call him a sellout now, but what was, for those people who like hate on him now for selling out, two questions for any of those people that hate on Greg Cook for selling out. A, when was the last fucking time he drank a Stone beer?
Mm.
And B, what would you do if you created a business over 30 years and wanted to exit and retire and enjoy the fruits of your labor, your hard work, and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I think the answer is...
Should he be expected to do it till the day he dies? Fuck no.
No, but I think the answer that we're kind of learning from all of these sales is don't go out there at any point and say you'll be independent for life and you'll never sell, because you end up becoming a liar.
And that's the key point with this, and it really is, and to take your point, this is the kind of the Stone and Wood situation happening in the US right now, where that Greg was very outspoken and being fiercely independent, and then selling out to Sapporo. Now, did you click that link about his blog?
I did. I haven't read this. I'm looking forward to reading it.
Okay, so the first three things is in his blog. It's basically, the title of the blog is called "It's Time," and there's a couple of quotes from songs. There's "Roamer, Wanderer, Nomad, Vagabond, Call Me What You Will." Which song is that? You know what song it is? Are you a Metallica fan?
Yeah, I am a Metallica fan.
Come on, you got this.
Fuck.
Which album is it from?
I'm gonna guess Metallica, only because it seems
the Black
familiar.
Album?
The Black Album.
Yes.
I'll say "Sad but True."
No, it's "Wherever I May Roam."
Oh, okay, that works. That makes sense.
Anyway, and then his second quote is, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man." That's deep.
Mm.
Now, I was fortunate enough to meet Greg Cook a few years ago in Melbourne. What did he come out for? I think, oh, excuse me, bit of COVID. Johnny Latta, bloody had him out for some reason. And he did a event at the Ale House Project.
Nice.
And a tap takeover, and none of the beers, the lightest beer was 8.2%. So to suffice to say, Dan, that was a messy day. Luckily,
that was a field trip type situation.
Oh my God, it was so field trip.
Right.
And I had a chat with Greg and his partner. She's lovely, for a few hours and talking about, his view. When you get someone out of the spotlight, so to speak, you get to meet the real person and that sort of thing. The guy's genuinely passionate about what he does, about independent beer and all that sort of thing. And he genuinely believed all those things, that he said, and you can't say that he's not true to his word in that respect, right? And so when you're that sort of person, you are fiercely independent, and very similar to the Stonerwood situation, how do you exit the business? With a brewery that size? I think they were the top 10 in size. I think they're the seventh biggest brewery in the US, I think, by volume. Definitely in the top 10.
I think yeah. I answer it the same way. The answer is you got to be careful what you say, I think. Otherwise,
yeah, exactly. It's like, but that said, though, who did they sell to? And then
Sapporo.
if you read the, that's right. So if you have a read of his blog post, right, and as you go a little bit further down, he actually talks a little bit about what got him into craft beer, right? And what got him into craft beer was his epiphany beer. Everyone's got an epiphany beer, right? His epiphany beer was Anchor Steam.
Yep.
Right. And he talks about going to Anchor. He talks about Avery, New Belgium, Dogfish Head, Bells, and Anchor. Right. He says,
30 years old.
Anchor's been around for Anchor's been around for a long time, mate.
Yeah.
Older than me. And I'm old. Right. And he says that was my epiphany beer all the way back in 1987 was Anchor. Right. And he said the one that turned me on to what could be in the world of beer was the initial spark that sent me on my craft beer journey, right? Sapporo owns 2 breweries in the United States now. Guess which the other one is?
I read it, and I'm guessing it's that one.
It's Anchor. Yeah. Now, Anchor breweries are like, if you're a old school beer geek like me, or even if you're not, right? Because the thing is, I think these days, a lot of people a lot of the punters are into craft beer. Generally, they just think that craft beer has always been there. And the thing is, it hasn't. And if you go back 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, right, to the late 60s, early 1970s, right, when the real pioneers of craft beer were around, and their breweries like Anchor Brewing. Now, Anchor Brewing was about to go broke. It got bought out by a gentleman by the name of Fritz Maytag, right? So Fritz, if you've ever been to a coin laundromat, all the washing machines and Maytags, that's him. Well, that's his family's business, right? And so Fritz Maytag, I highly recommend, right? If you can actually watch it on YouTube, it's Michael Jackson, the Beer Hunter series, right? It's from the early 90s, and it's only 5 shows in the 5 episodes in the series. Michael Jackson, the famous beer writer, not the singer and dancer, British beer writer, did this 5-part series about different regions of beer around the world. And episode 1 was called the California Pilgrimage, I think it was called. And they actually showed Fritz Maytag. Oh my God, it fucking nearly made me cry, because the way that he speaks about beer is the way that I feel about beer every day, to this day, where, he talks about, Fritz Maytag, he owns wineries, he owns a brewery, and he talks about the comparison between the two. He talks about wine being like painting in oils, whereas beer is like painting in watercolors, right? And he would take his staff to a barley farm to sort of show them that beer is an agricultural product. It's not something that just comes from picking up the phone and ordering the raw materials, or picking up the phone and ordering Jimmy Brings, right? It's an agricultural product, and it's at risk. And we often lose sight of that these days. People think that beer is such a commodity that it's man-made by some, bunch of chemists in a factory. Well, it's fucking not. It's made by real farmers, and it's at risk from the weather and the climate, and made by real people in maltings and hop farms and all that sort of stuff, and before it even gets to the brewery. So, I think that going back to Greg Cook and Anchor being his epiphany beer in the late 80s, there was a lot of stuff going on in California in the beer world around that time of the late 80s, early 90s, right? That would have kicked things off. Now, Stone Brewing was around during the first big craft beer downturn in the US in the late 90s. So in the early 90s, there was a big explosion of craft breweries. And then all of a sudden, there was actually a downturn, and the number of breweries started decreasing again. And Greg Cook said that, he spoke of that downturn, having run a business through it. He said that when there was a shakeout in the craft brewing industry, it wasn't a shakeout in price, it was a shakeout in quality. It's the breweries that weren't making good beer were the ones that didn't survive.
That's what normally happens during downturns.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you have to. So he said that a brewery, in order to survive, has to make really good beer, because consumers are just fickle. They'll drink a bad beer. They don't even know why they drink a bad beer. They just know it's bad, and they don't go back.
Yeah. Just ignore me. Keep talking.
I thought you were getting a mustard to skull of mustard out of your. It's a very interesting lot of condiments you've got there.
There's not a lot going on in this fridge, but I just realized as you were talking that I also have a Stone story, and I've got a beer to accompany it with. So
go for it.
No, you finish yours. Mine is nowhere near as good.
Well, I'm just saying, right? Greg Cook, as he's a guy who's known to have an attitude, and said a lot of things over the years, and about being fiercely independent. And you know what? No one else would have bought his business but some big brewery. And the big brewery that did buy his business only owns one other brewery in the States. Right. And so it's not the bad news tale. In fact, I think it's a success. I wish, the Stone family all the well and all the best. And Greg, who will have a very, very happy retirement. And where he basically says in his blog post, I'm still going to keep talking about the independence, the importance of independence of beer, but I'll just do it on one-to-one conversations rather than to the masses.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice, I suppose, coincidence that was the other company that they bought, but maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe it partly impacted his decision. I don't know. So my story is not as good as yours and nowhere near as educated, but it just crossed my mind that our first brewer, Spencer, who I don't know if you...
I know Spencer. Yeah. Spencer Cloud.
So Spencer Cloud, exactly. So he had a homebrew thing with his dad called Cloud Brewing. And one of his recipes was Thundercloud. And it ended up being one of the first beers. It was kind of like the first beer we did that was almost like a first staff beer, because he was our first brewer. And he's like, oh, I've got this recipe. Do you want to do it and release it as the Black Ops beer? Yeah, fuck yeah, that sounds cool. He ended up having to go back to America because of our visa rules, and he was on a visa and we couldn't keep him here. And he went back to America. He got a job at Stone Brewing.
Yeah, cool.
So he'd homebrewed and he'd work with us, but we were so small then. It was, really small batch stuff at HQ. And about 6 months after he went back, we went on our America trip, which was the thing that influenced, everything to do with our business. I think this is 2019, 2018. Fuck, maybe even 20. Anyway, it seems like a lifetime ago. Maybe it's 2017, 2018. And because he was working at Stone, we were able to go to those sites and, kind of get looked after, I suppose, better than you normally would if you just rocked up. And it was awesome to see, the big brewery was so much bigger than anything we'd seen before. It was so fucking big. It was kind of like, holy shit, this is it's the biggest brewery I've ever seen, and they're making incredible beer that tastes like small batch craft beer. And then he took us to the site in town, which was like this crazy massive brew pubby type thing that looked like it belonged in fucking somewhere in Europe. It was just the coolest place. And I was going around taking photos of everything because I was seeing shit, and I was like, because we were just about to build BH2, and part of the trip was get some inspiration for designing the tap room. And I remember very specific things from that thing that I saw that I was like, oh, we should definitely do that. One was the sign, the stone metal sign that was all rusty.
The gargoyle, yes.
Yeah. And I was like, we need that. So if you go to BH2 and you see the chevron sign on the wall at BH2, that is only there because I went to Stone, saw it, took a photo, and then when it came to designing BH2, I'm like, make me one of these signs because I want this to be like Stone. And we just brewed Thundercloud again. And I actually picked it up from HQ this afternoon. And
is it fresh?
It's fresh as shit. And I didn't even cross my mind the Stone connection until you started talking about it. And I thought, that's right.
Yeah, right. How is it anyway? Oh, you haven't had it yet.
I'm about to crack it, and it's 8.8%. So this could be a road trip, field trip type situation. But
field trip beer.
Feels like a good time to have it. And this is not a sponsored beer because this was not provided as sponsorship. So the other interesting thing about this is if my numbers are right, so a couple of things. One is in one of the posts, because I don't have access to Brewbound, but I kind of read the headlines, and one of the articles they put was a full article.
Yes.
And it mentioned that they wanted to make the business profitable, which I guess tells you that it's not currently profitable.
Yeah, my understanding is that for the last 4-ish years or so, they kind of plateaued and were not particularly profitable.
Right. Yeah. The other thing is, if you think about, I mean, I suppose they got to the point where they had to sell and probably would have sold for anything because I know in one of the articles it said something about there was talk of them selling a few months ago or 6 months ago for 480 million or something. And
Yep.
they didn't, but they've just sold, for a lot less than that.
Yes.
And if you look at the size, and hopefully I've got the numbers right, because it mentioned the amount of barrels they did, and I had to do a Google conversion because I don't really know those numbers, but I think it came out to be about 40 million litres a year. Does that sound about right for Stone?
Yeah.
So this is a business that's twice the size of the biggest craft brewery in Australia. So it's twice the size of Stone and Wood. 5 times the size of Bolter when Bolter sold.
Yeah. And only selling for 165 million.
And only selling for 165 million dollars,
which is about 230, 250 million Australian.
Yeah, half Stone and Wood, twice the size, every bit as big a brand. They are the biggest. Are they? They're probably the biggest craft beer brand in America, aren't they? Stone.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It says in this article, Stip added that the San Diego craft breweries business had declined 20%, or $174 million in the wake of the Molson Coors revamping the branding of its economy line Keystone Light in 2017.
And remember when Ballast Points sold? I think they were, from memory,
$1 billion
Ballast
Points.
Yeah, 60 million litres or something. So a bit bigger, but very
and
similar.
It's sold for $1 billion. Well, it just goes to show. They've taken some VC money. BMG, a firm that specialises in food and beverage investments, invested $90 million in 2016.
Yeah, so your little dig about crowdfunding now, I think it's got a lot to do with crowdfunding not being legal in the US for most of their history, and really,
isn't it?
It's no different to.
They're
taking investment from someone.
Of course, no. Of course you do. There's nothing wrong with taking investment. That wasn't a dick, by the way.
You're always having a dig.
Easy. Didn't say Brewdog at all.
But it's timing, isn't it? It's literally just timing.
It's timing. Look, fucking American beer market is shit. It's not profitable. You think it's not profitable here? We've got one of the most profitable beer markets in Australia. We do in the world. Sorry, Australia is one of the most profitable beer markets in the world. Fucking, I don't know how you do it in the States. See how much brewers get paid over there? Fuck all. Talk about brewers with years of experience getting paid $45,000 US. Fuck that.
No one really gets paid much in America. Shit's cheap in America. It's different. Shit's different over there. It's weird.
Yeah.
So to wrap that one up, does any of that make you sad or happy or don't care?
How do I feel about it? Look, I think it's the end of an era. Craft beer, really. A lot of the big hype breweries when I started my craft beer journey, like Stone, like Dogfish Head.
Dogfish Head's still independent?
It's owned by Sam Adams.
Yeah. Right.
Sold out to Sam Adams, mate. Cigar City, all that sort of stuff. They've all sold to big conglomerates and stuff like that. So I think Cigar City's part of the Kanaki, I think it is.
That's right.
Which is owned by Monster Energy Drink.
Modern Times of, I think we got that in here as well. That's another one that's fallen off compared to, I think at one point they were raising money at a $500 million valuation. And I think they've just sold for $20 million.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Cigar City's part of Kanaki, which is owned by Monster Energy Drink. It's the nature of the business, and I think that really what needs to happen is that consumers just need to fucking chill out when it comes to brewing companies selling out, because they're businesses at the end of the day. They're food manufacturing businesses. They're only profitable if they scale, because the margins are so slim. And the margins are so slim because you got to put it back on the consumer. They want cheap beer.
But even if you say they're only profitable if you scale, like these are like, at what point do you reach scale? These are big breweries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're still not profitable.
Oh, that's right. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got to. I think the only time
I think it points out what consumers actually care about, and that's the thing that the whole time I don't think anyone has realized is, like, if you go to, we're next to Norco Milk, right, at BH2, and you go to Aldi or you go to Coles or whatever, and you see the normal milk for $2, and you see the Norco milk for $3.50, and it says farmer owned and independent. And if that normal milk tastes exactly the same to you as the Norco milk,
yes,
very, very, very few people are going to buy that.
Very few people give a fuck. Exactly.
Yeah. And we've had,
that's
had a very big advantage for a long time in that the majors have never been that good at making the kind of beers that we make.
That's right.
That's over now. So now it just comes down to what people want to drink.
You've got Atomic fucking winning the GABS. That's a publicly listed. That's Gage Rose's publicly listed fucking company.
Still
winning the GABS People's
though.
Choice.
Still independent.
It is independent, but pretty big.
Oh, not really.
No, just to highlight your point, right? No, they're doing 20 million litres. That's pretty big, mate.
Well, yeah, they're doing 20 million litres total volume, but probably 15 of their own. They're reasonably big, but they're still, I would say they're still very firmly an independent brewery. Just because they're listed doesn't make them.
But if you cast your mind back to the previous GABS People's Choices, when Bacchus won for raspberry vanilla pilsner, and I won it, and and Big Shed won it, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well,
it's changed.
It's changed.
But that's to your point, mate. Is that, like, the big breweries can be innovative now.
Yeah. I don't know if I would regard, like I went to Gage when I was over there. I wouldn't put them in the bracket of a big brewery. Have you been there? 20
million's a big brewery.
Yeah.
20 million litres a year is a big brewery, mate.
It feels like it's big, but it feels like a pretty scrappy craft beer brewery if you go there. It doesn't feel like a big multinational.
Have you done the brewery tour at fucking Milton in Brizzy here? Or?
Yeah.
That's a massive brewery.
It is.
But
Gage
it feels
like
pretty
that.
small.
No. Gage is not like that. Gage, it's probably smaller than BH2.
Yeah, really.
The actual square meters of the joint, it's not that big.
That must be just running 24 hours, just pumping.
Yeah, they've crammed in a lot of production into a very small space. And if you looked at, Stone and Wood, you used to work there.
Yeah.
It wasn't a very big, flashy brewery. It was a pretty ghetto brewery in a big shed in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah, it is a bit sad, I must say. Look, like when I look at these brands, like these were kind of the inspirational brands. Stone and Wood, Modern Times.
End of an era, mate. End of an era.
It is the end of an era, and I think it's probably, look, like we're saying before with Stone and Wood, they timed this to perfection. You couldn't have done better than selling a independent craft brewery in 2021 for $500 million.
Yeah, well, that's why you got Ross Juricic as a neighbour, mate.
Yeah, no, he's not my neighbour. He's
on the same street as you, isn't he?
Definitely not the same street. No,
I'm on the one block over.
I'm on the independent street. He's on the Lion Nation street.
Just wait past. Just toot the horn on your scooter as you go.
Yeah, I will. As I'm catching the bus to work, I'll give him away. No, Ross is a legend. He's always been great to us. So good on him.
He deserves it.
All right. A couple of events in here. Blobfish.
Yeah. Have you been to it? Have you got COVID?
Definitely.
Did I just give you COVID?
I'm still getting over the fucking Dan flu from 3 weeks ago.
You sure it wasn't COVID?
Fuck, I'm stepping back from this screen again. I'm too close to you. You're healthier than me, mate. And you've got bloody Delta.
Yeah.
Omicrons or something.
Whatever.
I have not been. Did you go to the last one?
I have not been to Blobfish. Do you know what Blobfish is?
I've Googled it that many times and I don't understand it, but I'm going and we're bringing beer to it. So.
Oh, is AWOL bringing some beer?
Yes.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically a sour, wild, and funk beer festival.
Mm.
In the old meatworks up in East Melbourne, North Melbourne, East Melbourne, something like that.
Another random fact, another random coincidence, organised by these guys.
Yeah.
And I happen to be wearing their shirt. Total coincidence.
That's right. Good bunch of people.
Yeah.
Look,
Not
really good concept for a beer festival. Extremely popular amongst all the beer geeks in Melbourne and that sort of thing. I would go out of curiosity, but you know, I would just probably, I don't know. I just can't drink. I like sour beers and I like funk beers and all that sort of stuff. I don't gravitate towards them like lots of people do, you know. And I would go to a festival like that just purely out of curiosity. I enjoy the beers. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy them. I just don't seek them out as hardcore as some of the hardcore beer geeks, like Perko.
Yeah,
he just fucking loves that shit, and he would be flying down for. I can guarantee you.
Yeah,
he'll be going to Blobfish. But you know, you drink lots of sour beer, and it's a fucking laxative. And I hope they've got good toilets.
Yes, you did bring this up last time, and I'm going to be considering that. I might even smuggle in some cans of sponsored beer with something else in it, just to break up the. You know.
No, you know what you need to do. You need to pop a few Imodiums before you go to the festival.
Okay.
Right.
Is that some kind of like boomer word for disco
diarrhea
pills?
No, diarrhea tablets.
Oh, okay. All right.
Take some anti-diarrhea tablets, some Imodium.
Wow.
And they're basically are your disco pills for Blobfish.
Okay. Right.
I'm popping a couple of cats before Blobfish. What do you got?
I hope they've got that pill testing thing they're doing. That'd be great, just to make sure you're not.
And also take some antacid tablets as well, because you're going to fucking need them.
All right, I will. That sounds good.
I would need them. I would have to have the Mylanta. They would have to be. You know, there should be at Blobfish a fucking Mylanta stand.
Okay. I could smuggle some in maybe for listening.
You smuggle away, mate.
Yeah.
If Mylanta started doing an alcoholic beverage, it would be best suited to launch at fucking Blobfish.
I feel like we're doing a very, very bad job at promoting this.
No, go to Blobfish. It's fucking great.
Oh my God.
I'm just taking the piss. Just shit posting.
God. All right.
It's good. Go to Blobfish. Great beer festival run by a great bunch of people.
Yeah. And the someone from AWOL/Black Ops will be there. It'll probably be Toshi. Might be me, might be Eddie, might be all of us. I'm not sure, but we'll be there. So
cool.
Yes. I had the Modern Times one on there. Do you want to talk about that?
Did you post photos of you with some Imodium tablets when you get there?
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that just for you.
Just for the group.
Let's skip Modern Times because that's depressing.
Yes.
Crafted Festival on the Gold Coast announced their lineup today. That's looking really fucking cool. You're going to come down?
Everyone says that beer festival is amazing, and I've never been.
It's the best one.
I should go.
Oh, you definitely should go. This year it's over 2 days too.
When is it?
I think this year it's early September. They announced today.
What's the dates?
Let me have a look.
Why is it so good? Everyone says it's so good.
Because it's on the Gold Coast,
which
is awesome. Every year they've done it, it's been really good weather.
27th
always had really good bands. The local support for breweries has been phenomenal. Like for us, it's the best festival we ever do by a mile.
Yeah, right.
They have like a locals corner where it's like all local breweries and sort of independent ones. We're doing the collab this year with British India, who was the headline act. And they've organized. We've done that a couple of times. We did it with the Delta Rigs one year. Like that was super cool. Grandad Jack's had this big truck thing with like a gin bar and 2 stories. It's just fucking cool. Let me get this.
That's a good band lineup.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, there we go. No, it's the 27th, 28th of August. That's a bit early this year. But this year, for the first year, it's over 2 days, which is really interesting.
Yeah, right.
They just nailed everything. Good branding, really good lineup of beers, good vibes. It's a really good festival to go to. So
27th and 20th. I'll go on the Saturday, I think.
Yeah, come
because
along.
I'll have to work on the fucking Monday, so I can't really do that.
Yeah, come on a field trip.
Oh man, it's going to be so field trip.
Yeah, it's in a great location too. It's on a park that is basically on the beach. So there's a band in the middle. There's like a hill. You can sit on the grass, drink beers. It's the best.
Yeah, right.
Best. It's highly recommended. You don't need any kind of Malanta or anything. It's a lot of variety.
Good. It's not that sort of beer festival.
No.
What is it? $50 for a Saturday ticket, $36 for a Sunday ticket, or $73.45 for a weekend ticket, including booking fees.
An aggressive move, but yeah, you can do that.
What do you mean?
Like 2 days in a row of the beer fest. That's a lot.
Oh, what do we got there? 27 South, Aether, Bolter. Better beers there. Fucking sick.
Well, they're standing.
Cogger will be there. We get to meet him.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Black Hops, never heard of them.
Yeah,
Blaster Brewing Company, that means Craig Maiden's going to be there. Brewdog's there. Burley Barrels is supposed to be there. Smokey and Lukey are there.
Smokey and Lukey crush it every year. That normally we're next to them. Yeah, and we just have this lineup for fucking 10 meters out the front. They're right next to us. Smokey is in best form. Lukey's loving it. It's good. It's the best.
That's awesome. I think I'm going to get tickets.
Good. Do it, mate. Let's get... Oh, no, was there one more? Oh, dry hop grodzizskie. Do you want to talk about that before we get into 12 questions?
Yes. Did you see that photo I posted?
I saw it.
So I'm actually talking to Michael about it. And I saw that, and I saw he was having a grodzizskie. I went, oh, yeah, Polish guy having a grodzizskie. And I looked at the label and I said, something Polish, but you could kind of make out dry hop with Nelson sorbet. I'm like, what? Now, I said to Michael, I said, mate, is this actually doable? Can you do this? You know, because I've seen people try to do dry hop smoke beers before and not pull it off successfully at all.
Right.
And this has me really, really confused because smoke's quite strong, but in a grodzizskie, because it's such a light beer, there's not a lot of smoke, even though it's 100% smoke beer. And he said, yeah, bloody oath, you can do it. He didn't say bloody oath because he's Polish. He said, yes, of course you can do it. And he says he also do wild and sour grodzizskie as well.
Oh, really?
So the question is, right, is our grodzizskie could be a series of grodzizskie.
It could be an AWOL grodzizskie at the peak. We could do an AWOL grodzizskie with Malanta. Yeah.
Yes, it comes with, we'll just sticky tape a fucking Malanta tablet to the side of the tin. There you go, mate. A Malanta and an Imodium.
I think before we get too carried away with doing 15 different grodzizskies, we probably should just do one and then see if anyone buys it.
Well, how are we going with that? So it's got a name, it's got a tin.
Yep, it's got the design there.
Right, it's up to you now, mate. We just need to lock in those raw materials.
It's in the river.
Pipeline?
The pipeline, exactly. It's in there.
Yeah. Where's it sitting in the pipeline, mate?
I don't know. I'll have to check. I will check. But if we want to change the recipe do we want to change to a dry hop or no? Because keeping in mind that at your disposal, you have probably the most recognizable dry hopper in the game.
Well, exactly.
This guy.
Yeah.
So I'm saying use me or don't use me.
I was at Kmart yesterday and I nearly bought a red Flano.
You should have. I think I fucking lost mine.
I nearly bought a red Flano. I didn't buy it though.
Well, it's got to be. I feel like it's got to be a Gladfield one. I don't think.
Well, that's why I didn't buy it because it didn't have a Gladfield logo on it.
Yeah, it's a big, obnoxious logo. Like you need that on the back.
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't have the Gladfield logo. I don't know why. You go to Kmart, you go to the men's fucking wear section, and you can buy a Nirvana shirt, a fucking AC/DC shirt, a Red Hot Chili Peppers shirt, my Beastie Boys shirt that came from Kmart.
Yeah.
But no Gladfield menswear.
Well, I'm looking back at this Little Bang article, and the guy who's in the middle there,
is he wearing a Gladfield red flannel?
Incoming co-CEO and head brewer, Oscar Matthews. Oscar Matthews, that must be, well, I don't know. One of these guys is wearing a black and white flannel. That's not a Gladfield one, but it looks very solid. Looks like you could possibly use that for dry hopping.
That's probably probably the color they wear for dry hopping in South Australia.
Okay. Yeah, and they call it a Gladfield one, but it's not actually.
So I think,
like the pint.
I think, in all seriousness, we should do the OG grodzizskie first.
So yeah,
but we should definitely have a dry hop grodzizskie on the cards, and we definitely should be chatting to fucking Toshi to see what he can do with it.
Yes. Okay. So get the base level one done first.
Yes.
If it sells like crazy,
yes,
look at the dry hop version, and then look at the AOL version.
Yes.
All right. Or if it does well in the awards, because we can send it to the indies.
Yes.
Hopefully, if we get it done.
Well, this is the plan. Has the indies entries open yet?
No, but when's the indies? September?
But the entries will be open this month. So we need to fucking lock this shit in.
All right.
For the indies.
All right.
And considering that this beer needs to be crystal clear, right? And it's Kolsch yeast, it might need some time to fucking settle in the tank.
Yeah.
Because you can't go and throw 800 litres through your centrifuge. I don't think your centrifuge would fit 800 litres in the bowl.
Yes.
So.
Well, yeah. All right. Let's do it. We'll do it soon.
Pick up the phone to Lara and let's go. Let's go.
I will. I'll bring it up tomorrow as a priority. All right. 12 questions. I actually broke the rules and looked at a couple of these, and they were
okay. I haven't
rubbish.
Looked, so knock yourself out.
So
as long as everyone said question, and then ask their question.
All right. 12 questions. I gave them a lot of room to ask sensible questions. Adam Shell, does anyone know if you can get, not that one.
The other one?
The other one. Yes.
Okay.
Does anyone know if you can get Phantasm in Australia, and if so, through who? What is that? I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Phantasm is? No,
is
he's
it
not.
Something from the Neverending Story?
No, it's not. It's from New Zealand.
Oh, that's Fantasia.
Oh, yeah. So then it is.
Okay.
Okay. So Phantasm is basically it's dried Sauv Blanc grape skins.
Oh,
that's been powdered. Now, the Sauvignon Blanc grape skins contain sulfur chemical compounds called thiols, okay, which are part of, you would know about this because it's all to do with dry hopping. You know why Nelson Sauvin smells and tastes the way that it does?
Well, you said it was dried out. So that's obviously related to dry hopping.
Dry hopping, exactly.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that in addition to dry hopping, you put this Phantasm in, and it basically turns your beer into an absolute fruity fucking thiol bomb.
Interesting. So it's like a skin contact beer.
Yeah.
I'm into my skin contact wine now because that's how I roll. So
absolutely. And so yeah, that's what Phantasm is. How do you get it? You can't. The only way that I know where you can try and get it is to message them through their Instagram. But then they'll reply back to you and say, we'll put you on the waiting list, and you're never going to get it.
What if you take a horse across like a swamp, and then if you make it to the other side, you get the Phantasm?
Like Neverending Story?
Exactly. Atreyu,
Atreyu!
Yes. This beer is fucking delicious too, by the way. I'm not trying to sell it because it'll sell itself, but
go buy it.
God, it's good.
You pay for it?
All right. Well, thanks. So that was a real question, and it was a pretty real answer.
We haven't finished talking about Phantasm.
All right, there's more.
And so there would be, there's another thing that goes with that as well. So the latest thing is about talking about thiolizing beers, and there's a number of ways you can do it, right? So thiols being real fruity characters that you can get in beer, and you don't necessarily need something like Phantasm. You can do stuff like mash hopping, which will carry over through the kettle and carry over into the wort, and then then those thiols will be broken down by yeast through biotransformation.
What kind of
There's a
flannel do you need
yeast-
to wear for mash hopping?
This is more lab coat,
Right.
flannel
okay.
lab coat.
Just plain white flannel.
Yeah, I suppose. Or you can make a lab coat that goes past your bum. It's done in flannel material.
Okay.
And so there's actually a yeast called Cosmic Punch, which comes out of Omega Labs in the US. And it is a thiolized yeast. So they put this, it's a GM genetically modified yeast, right? And they pumped up the gene that does the thiolizing. And so basically, if you pair Phantasm with Cosmic Punch yeast, apparently it's just a fucking boom explosion of fucking hop flavor and that sort of thing. But you can't get Cosmic Punch in Australia because genetically modified yeast is illegal here.
Interesting. So wait, to go back to the original Phantasm thing, where was that from again?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. And so did New Zealand breweries have access to it, or?
I'm sure. Yeah, the Garage Project's done a beer with it.
Yeah.
A couple of US breweries have done a beer with it.
Yeah, right. There you go.
If you can get it, do it.
Interesting. It sounds fun. All right. Thanks, Adam Shell. Louis G.
I think he's in Melbourne. He posted that photo the other day of at Stomping Ground at Moorabbin.
Okay. Well, this question makes
I
no
might have been
sense,
that guy I met
it.
at the Grand Prix.
Damien Rigby,
is.
how much Hollandia should we buy from Dan's?
All
Member
of it.
of $15 a 4-pack. That's a 500 too.
Hang on a second. $15 a 4-pack. That's expensive.
500 mil. Is it really? No.
Yeah.
Member offer. How much is it normally? I don't know how much.
That makes it $90 a case. No.
No, it's 50. No. That's just for a 4-pack. In a whole case, it's 58 a case, which I think is the full.
That's about $5 more than what you should be paying for it.
For the case?
I mean, back in the day, it was $53.
Do you ever buy a 4-pack or you just buy a case?
Buy a case.
Right.
The only time I buy a 4-pack is if the store's broken down a carton, and I will just buy a 4-pack. But I would prefer to buy a case.
So what are you paying for a case these days?
$53 to $57.
Okay. So this member offer is bullshit.
Yeah. It's not that great.
All right. Ooh. Paul Metcalf. Who will win Silverstone this weekend, and on what lap will Carlos crash? Didn't Carlos come second last week?
Canada. Yeah, I think they both failed, didn't they? The Ferraris.
Didn't Sainz come second last race?
Yeah, something like that.
Leave Sainz alone,
Third. Or who's going to win Silverstone? Interesting. Won't be Mercedes.
Well, no. There's a lot going on with F1 this week. Did you see that? Probably not a good thing for us to talk about, but did you see what the old mate Nelson Piquet, who I'm obviously not old enough to remember who he is, but he's apparently an F1 champion.
Yes, he is multiple times.
Did you see that video?
No, I didn't see the video.
Just literally just drop on the N-word talking about Lewis.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
It was really fucking bad. Like all I saw this week was like Mercedes put a thing out saying we don't condone racism under any circumstance, and I'm here thinking, well, of course, of course you don't. Like, what the fuck is this about? Like, it didn't even say in the post what it was about. So then I'm going through the comments, and the F1 put something out saying the same thing, and then Lewis put something out, and then Russell put something out, and then the whole thing that there's putting all these posts out, but no one actually said in the post what happened. But this guy was just on a random interview, and it's from a couple of years ago. So it's one of those things where someone finds and they're like,
dragged it up. Yeah.
But he's literally just openly calling him the N-word in a podcast. Wow. It was fucking horrifying. You're just like, because Lewis has been really proactive with this stuff.
I did see this morning when I was trolling Reddit that Nelson Piquet's son posted a photo of him with his grandmother, and he sort of said, "Oh, my grandmother used to say," and he didn't censor himself. He just said the whole N-word again, and like father, like son, and that sort of thing. And then someone posted a photo of that Instagram post liked by Kelly Piquet. you know who Kelly Piquet is? That's Max Verstappen's girlfriend.
Oh,
So-
that's right. I read that. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So now he's all
man.
dragged into it as well.
That's right. Yes. Fuck.
And it's shit. You just can't say that
So
stuff.
Max Verstappen is going out with Nelson Piquet's daughter.
Yeah.
Fuck me. That is crazy. Oh, man. Yeah. Not cool.
I reckon maybe Lewis should just go out and crush it this weekend, but his car bounces too much, is too slow.
Yeah, he's getting a lot better though. He got
Back
third
up.
last time he got on the podium.
Yeah, he's getting there. I've become a bit of I was really like rooting for Ferrari at the start of the season.
Mm.
And now it's like, now they're not doing that well, but I still want them to do well.
Well, you want them to do well because you want there to be competition, and Max has blown them out of the water only really because they're fucking reliability problems, which is shit. You don't want that. Their car's the fastest. They were basically the fastest again the other week.
But Ferrari's had reliability issues and people not finishing and bad strategy and all that sort of stuff. So,
yeah,
I like this season. It's been interesting.
Yeah, it's been good.
Rather than a Max versus Lewis, it's been very interesting. There's always been something different happening, and I'm thoroughly enjoying the season. Well,
let's pick. I'm going to pick Science then because of your obnoxious comment saying that what lap will Carlos crash? Science has never won a Grand Prix. He's definitely one of the best drivers in the world. He's in one of the best cars, so I'm going to pick him for the win.
Okay, great.
Who are you going to pick? Lewis?
Hey, Lewis? Nah, I don't think Lewis is going to get it this weekend. Jeez. I hope Perez.
That'd be cool. I love him. He's very cool.
He's good.
He is very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
other questions are there?
That's it. That's the end of the questions.
Was that all of the questions?
That's what. Yeah, it was a shitty effort with the questions. Sorry, 12. But it wasn't even a multiple of
question.
12.
Colin, why are there not more questions?
Yeah. I got a question for you about the F1 that's got nothing to do with anything, and
yeah,
I want to ask you your opinion. Where would you put Lewis on the current list? Not forget best drivers of all time. Where would you put him currently on the best drivers on the grid? The current grid.
Oh, he's very talented. He's only let down by his car this year. But that said, though, George Russell's doing much, much better in the same car.
Right. And every other year, Lewis has had a car way better than everyone else. So you can say that every other year he's raced, everyone else has been let down by the car.
Yeah. Maybe he's sandbagging.
I don't think so. Where do you put him? Top?
I'll probably put him third or fourth or something.
In terms of driver skills.
Driver skill of the current grid?
Current grid, yeah.
Yeah, probably third or fourth. I think Max Verstappen is an extremely talented driver.
Yeah.
I think what's his name? Not Science, the other bloke in the bloody Ferrari.
Leclerc. He's a freak.
Leclerc, he's a freak. Lando's pretty good.
Lando.
He's your cousin, I think.
He is. Much more talented cousin.
And that's kind of like my top four.
And Russell is outperforming Hamilton in his own car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But Hamilton's regarded as one of the best of all time. So
well, when you got 7 bloody world championships up your sleeve, of course.
Yeah.
But maybe he's just past his peak now.
No, I don't think so. I think he's had the best car his whole career. And no one seems
and you
to
think
acknowledge
that's the
that.
reason why he's done good is because he's had a better car than he is a good driver?
Well, no, I think he's a fucking great driver. I just think there's a lot of great drivers, and they're not all in the best car. Like Lando's never been in the best car. Russell's never been in the best car. Leclerc's never been in the best car.
Gasly's never been in the best car.
I mean, Max has never been in the best car. Max won the world title, not in the best car.
Why in the car?
Interesting sport. Anyway, Science for the win this weekend.
Get in there.
All right, that's it, mate. We did pretty well.
I think we did all right. No field trip. I
No
stayed
sponsorship
sober.
for you.
No,
Sponsored by
I
water
hope to
or
be
no?
back on the beers next week.
Okay.
Once I get out of ISO and that sort of thing. Fuck, what am I going to do this weekend? Oh no, I've got half a keg of Vienna lager that I brewed for the Schweinhaxen dinner.
All right. I forgot to talk about that. Well, I was going to say, if you need beer, I'll figure it out, mate. I'll get you some COVID safe beer.
Right. Sounds
Hook me
good.
up. Oh, the other thing, we got a question via email, which I randomly checked the email, hadn't checked it in months because we don't ever get any emails.
Right.
And it's actually a really good, decent, thoughtful question. But it's long and he doesn't want us to answer it on the podcast because it contains some sensitive information. So
well, send it to me.
I'll send it to you. We can reply via email or we can record a little special video and send him that or something like that.
Okay, that'll work.
But he's one of the 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
Cheers, mate.
Take it easy. See you next week.
Love your work. I hope you stay well. If you need anything,
there's the thumbnail for YouTube.
Okay. No, you got to send me the photo. Send me the selfie from before.
Oh yeah, we'll do. See you later.
See you, mate.